Good morning, good day. Have a nice day. That's my starter for today. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, welcoming you to the program agenda here on Cignal TV, channels 8. And for those with high definition television, you can also watch us on channel 250 on Cignal, as well as on facebook.com/onenewsph and on YouTube by entering One News PH. You can also downplay the Cignal Play app to watch us on the go. As I said, it's July 12, 2021. It's a Monday, and we have some interesting topics for today. But first of all, allow me to just point this out. Para sa inyong mga nanonood via tablet, iPad, or iPhone, whatever, if you want to read the news, you can also read it via the Philippine Star online. And ayan po, no, pinapakita ko sa inyo kasi malaking bagay para doon sa mga hindi nararating ng dyaryo. Because before I even got into media, I remember when I was staying in Palawan, they just couldn't deliver to many of the islands there, pero naabot naman ng Cignal. So ayan po, no, so Cignal or smart, you can watch or read the news. Now let's go to the front page of the Philippine Star and I will read you the stories. The headline for today's edition of the Philippine Star: Senators hit 160 billion fund release delay. Senators slammed the Department of Budget and Management yesterday due to the delay of fund release for projects under the 2021 General Appropriations Act. The withheld fund is worth around 160 billion pesos and are currently labeled as FLR, which stands for later release, upon the authority of President Rodrigo Duterte. Senate Minority Leader Franklin Drilon warns that with the 2022 polls or elections only 10 months away, politics could be a consideration in this FLR item. Sa madaling salita, baka naiipit, iniipit, or iipitin para sa kampanya o para sa eleksyon. So sabihin, paano naman mangyayari yun? Paano gagamitin yun? Well, hindi naman po kukunin yung pera tapos gagamitin pangampanya. Hindi po. I-release yung mga pera sa mga programa na baka merong farm-to-bahay road ng congressman, baka multi-purpose gym ng isang barangay captain o mayor, we don't know. Okay? So, I mean, it leads itself to suspicion because these are funds appropriated for 2021. Ano na po, July na. Sabi ko nga sa inyo, July 12 na. Okay. Meanwhile, back to the front page of the Philippine Star, on the upper portion, NCR mayors to issue uniform rules on kids outdoors. Metro Manila mayors have agreed to issue a uniform policy on allowing children outdoors. Malabon Mayor Antolin Lenlen Oreta III said that they will identify areas where minors would be allowed under the supervision of their parents or guardians. Okay. And on the lower half of the Philippine Star, let's go further down the front page of the Philippine Star, you will see 13,000 residents have been evacuated in Batangas province for over a week after the unrest in Taal. Hindi po rebellion yun. Ano yung Taal volcano, hindi mapakali. Hindi makapagdesisyon kung puputok yung butsi niya, yung tok-tok niya o hindi. Currently, around 5,000 individuals are still being served in 21 evacuation centers in the province, according to the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council or NDRRMC. And para doon po sa inyong mga curious kung ano pa yung nasa balita, Northern Samar probes vaccines transferred to the house of a politician. Okay, the Northern Samar Provincial Board is ayan po, yes, upper left, no? Is investigating claims that vaccines were taken to the private house in the capital town of Catarman. Okay, so chinecheck natin yan. Okay, now, COVID-19 cases, 5,916. J&J vaccine delivery on the lower half starts this week. And ito po, dun sa bottom half, ayan po, no, medyo hindi namin nasama sa balita. Department of Justice says the West Philippine Sea fishermen's 6 million settlement not final. Yan po yung, tandaan nyo, yung basnig, okay? Sa wooden fishing boat, sa hindi nakakaintindi ng Tagalog na yon, basnig na binangga that was rammed by a steel boat or steel ship, Chinese fishing vessel, 2 years ago. And it became so controversial kasi ilang cabinet member, yung I remember the agriculture secretary no, nasama yung si Kusi, yung na-kick out dun sa PDP laban last week, energy secretary, yung binubugbog sa Senado. He was also there. And in fact, I commented, baka mas maigi pa, imbes na ang daming daldalan, investigasyon during that time, sana nagbigay na lang ng ilang milyon si Secretary Kusi. Total, siya naman yung pinakamayamang cabinet member according to statistics. But anyway, after 2 years, hindi pa pala bayad yung mga mangingisda, hindi pa nase-settle, and mukhang nag-uusap pa rin yung Philippine panel and yung Chinese company, or I don't know if they're assisted by Chinese official, but yun, okay, kumbaga kasama na yan doon sa mga, anyway, we will refrain from further comment, but the point is, kinalulungkot kong ibalita sa inyo, matapos ang daming dada, okay, ang daming pasakalye, wa pa rin. Okay. The quote for the day is from 1 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 23. Okay, and ito po, no? You say, sabi mo, I am allowed to do anything. Pwede kong gawin kahit ano yung gusto ko. But not everything is good for you. Kanya lang hindi lahat ng bagay ay ikabubuti mo o hindi bagay sa'yo. Tapos, you say, I am allowed to do anything, but not everything is beneficial. Hindi lahat ikabubuti mo. Okay. Baka magtataka kayo, sino pinapatamaan mo dun sa Bible quote na yan na you say, I am allowed to do anything, but not everything is good for you. You say, I am allowed to do anything, but not everything is beneficial. Yan po ay para doon sa mga taong pinagdidiinan na may karapatan silang tumakbo, na pwede silang tumakbo ulit At kung pwede lang, tumakbo na kayo palabas ng opisina ninyo pagtapos na yung termino ninyo. Okay, let's continue with our interviews today. And I think there are many questions. Palagay ko masakit ang ulo ng mga tiga-Department of Interior and Local Government kasi ang dami pong mga tanong tungkol dito sa mga bagong patakaran. The Philippine National Police is on alert against possible use of vaccination cards. And then there is this issue of children being allowed outside residences, etc., etc., etc. Tanungin natin, regular here on agenda, the Undersecretary for the Department of Interior and Local Government, Undersecretary Epimaco Densing III. Sir, good morning.
Good morning, Cito, and to all your viewers and followers. Good morning, Bio.
Okay, well, you're smiling, so I presume your headache has not reached a critical level, but I can only
Like the
imagine.
COVID-19, it's contained.
It's contained. Okay, bravo. Good answer. Okay, but I can imagine that you guys are probably just, getting earaches from all of the inquiries, all of the questions. Kasi ako, I just stopped asking. Nahihilo na ako eh. Regarding ikaw na magsabi, Yuse, kasi ang daming announcements, hindi ko na alam kung ano yung pinaka-latest, ano yung official, etc. First, I read in the news today, as I read the front page of the Philippine Star, the Metro Manila mayors will issue a uniform guideline regarding the allowing of children outside residences, 5 years old and above.
Yes.
Now, my first question, as in the minds of many, bakit Metro Manila lang ba? Number one. Number two, pag sinabing allowed, wala pa bang rules? Parang in-announce na pero wala pa palang guidelines.
No, Cito, those who will be allowed to go out for those who are 5 years old and above are those in areas where they are under a GCQ and MGCQ community quarantine classification. So that's number one. So it's all over the country. It's not just in Metro Manila. The only thing that in Metro Manila, I think they met yesterday and they said they want to have some uniform rules in the National Capital Region. And they will be very specific per local government in Metro Manila, which specific playgrounds, which specific tourist open areas, which specific biking areas, which where they will allow children to be there. Second is that they will also put a cap, most probably, in the number of people in a playground or open area. So just to make sure that there will be no massive people going there, including children. So it's just the National Capital Region through the Metro Manila Council for them to adopt a certain uniform way of allowing children in the open areas. However, generally, as a general policy, if your local government unit is under general community quarantine or modified general community quarantine status, then children above 5 may be allowed to go out together with parents and guardians, but only in open areas, specific open areas, playgrounds, hikes, open tourist destinations, tourist areas.
Okay, Yusek, pasensya ka na. Hindi naman ako sa kontrabida, no? Kasi I have to voice the question of our viewers. Now, one of the questions raised over the weekend was, what is the scientific, medical, data-driven basis for this pronouncement, and what is different now than 1 year ago or 6 months ago? Kasi parang medyo nagtataka, you have to understand, it's confusing. We're talking here on the program, I keep warning people, Delta variant, be careful, stay home, even if you're vaccinated, stay home. And then biglang nag-announce, 5 years old and above, larga na, pwede nang palabasin. And people are saying, bakit? Paano?
Totoo yan, Sito. And I can share to you that for over a year, during IATF meetings, that has always been a debate within the IATF, especially with the economic managers and, of course, our health experts. In the last IATF meeting last Thursday, we allowed our health experts to present, no? Particularly on possibly letting our children go out, no, with the current situation. So number one, through our health experts, which is very important, is the psychology of children who are kept inside the homes. And this has been discussed thoroughly by our health experts and those who are experts in children psychology. So there's really a need for children to go out. That's number one. Number two, they looked at the science that as long as it's an open area or highly ventilated places, I think they feel that with this kind of a reason behind letting them out, as long as it's an open area, there's a low risk or potentially low possibility of COVID-19 get them being infected. Generally naman Sito, what the general principle really in this crisis for the children is hindi naman sila tatamaan talaga or magkakasakit. It's more on because they have strong bodies and antibodies, they can be potential carriers at makakahawa, no? So kung manggagaling yung bata sa labas, uuwi sa bahay, then they have vulnerable individuals there, like the senior citizens, they could be carriers inside the home at makakapanghawa. So kinonsider yan at pinagdabitihan pa rin yan, Sito, no? And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I think it's really time for them to slowly go out, considering that few months from now, we may have to adopt certain new normal standards, and this will be thoroughly announced months from now.
Yeah, but and again, I have to apologize if I sound, contrabida. But based on what I have monitored on the reports and interviews from abroad, experts have pointed out, at least on one, two, or three occasions that I've seen on, well-known officials or health experts, they've said that the prevalent cases now involve young adults. Kasi yung mga matatanda nga, even in Tokyo, there was a report, I think, on Cable News Asia, where it was pointed out that the senior citizens or the older individuals, the cases have gone down because nabakunahan na tayo. Ang dumadami are cases of the young adults because they have not been vaccinated. And now the new variants that are coming out seem to be going, hitting people who are 40 and below or 45 and below. I'm just wondering kasi it just it's parang hirap intindihin. I know that Secretary Duque and the more senior officials of the DOH, like the Undersecretary, yung tiga Davao ba, si kalimutan ko.
Bong Vega.
Oh, yeah, Bong Vega. They have always been very conservative, very, firm in their position. Sabi ko, ano nakain at biglang pumayag? Sino ba ang proponent or major push for the allowing of young kids to go out? I'm
Well,
not
I
against
agree.
it. I'm not against it, Yusek, no? Kanya lang kasi, ito, dediretsahin na kita, kasi may mga nagsususpecha related to sa SONA at related to sa eleksyon, eh. Parang, o sige, pakawalan na natin kasi pag pinatagal mo pa yan, sigurado talo tayo, yayariin tayo sa eleksyon.
Wala naman. Well, I agree with you. Secretary Duque and some health officials are really conservative. Kaya nga, nagdedebate yan eh. As early as last year, yung ating economic team was really pushing for younger age individuals to go out to promote economic activity, no? And you're right, na ang karamihan ngayon na mataas ang tama is those between 21 to 40 years old. Because unless you have comorbidities, you have not been vaccinated yet. And karamihan ng mga taong lumalabas ngayon are the working age, between 21 to 40. So the bulk of those who are infected as of today are really between that age. So the proponent really was nag-present yung ating health experts doon at present yun. And debatihan nga. Ang importante daw doon, makalabas na sila. And when the Israeli delegation came here, I think 2 or 3 weeks back, that was one question we asked them. What is their position of children going out under this pandemic environment? And they were saying na it's really to the disadvantage of a specific country if we continue to put our children in-house, no? We're talking about a generation that may be pulled down in terms of education and psychological effect moving forward as individuals if we keep them at home at
Mm.
these very long periods, no? So,
Okay.
isa yun sa mga naging dahilan kung bakit pinag-aralan uli ng ating health experts. In fact, in the beginning, talaga ating mga health experts hindi talaga pumapayag. May nagsalita pa nga yung group of doctors who are looking at children. Sabi nga, pag
Pediatrics.
17 and below, hindi pwede, yung mga pediatricians, no? Sabi nga,
Oh.
pag 17 and below, huwag palabasin. So again, may debate pa rin yan. But again, these are a few steps ahead if we are again to move forward to a new normal, considering na meron na ho tayong bakuna. So if we reach the level of population protection or herd immunity, kailangan talaga tayong magbukas. And this is slowly doing it.
Okay. Yusek, I can imagine that the next biggest headache will be with the police. Kasi sigurado sila na naman ang gagawing tiga-bantay, tiga-sita, and there is this issue. If you're rich, you probably have a playground in your village. If you're rich, you can probably go to a mall or something or sabi nyo, outdoor, etc. na malaki, may whatever. Pero if you're poor, saan ka pupunta kasama yung mga bata? And malamang yan, ngayong sinabing pwede nang palabasin, nandiyan naman ang kuya ko, nandiyan naman yung ate ko. Hindi, anak ko yan, apo ko yan. Ang kawawa na naman dito yung mga kapulisan. Baka na naman mamaya, we might end up with the police being accused of, in this particular case, child abuse. What are we doing to make sure that the police has a clear rules of engagement and that they are also protected from being attacked? Kasi alam mo, yung mga namatay early this year, puro minors, and ang na-involved kung hindi barangay tanod, police.
Well, first of all, it's really not limited to our Philippine National Police, unless it's in the major public area like the CCP or Manila Bay, nandiyan ating kapulisan. But in other local government units, most of them will be tapping their barangay tanods or barangay officials, no, to make sure that yung papasok lang sa plaza or sa open area are those being guided by their parents or guardians. That's number one. Number two, wala namang hulihan talaga ito. It's more on just maninita, just to ensure na may social distancing. And the kids who are going out are practicing also minimum public health standards, the wearing of face masks and face shields, distancing, and continuously sanitizing their hands. So yun lang naman po ang titingnan nila dyan. Hindi tayo magkakahulihan, but it's more on pag nagkadikit-dikit na, sisitahin lang sila ng ating kapulisan, and including those barangay officials or barangay tanods. It won't go to the extent of maghuhuli po.
Alam mo, mahal ko rin naman yung mga kapulisan. May mga tsuhin ako naging pulis, etc. Sumalangit nawa sila, 3 na silang namayapa. But, siguro suggestion ko na lang, Yusek, ibili natin bubili tayo 150,000 worth ng pito, yung policeman's whistle, tapos sabihan na lang sila, huwag kayong lalakad na hindi nakasubo yung pito para hindi kayo magmumura, hindi kayo magagalit, pito lang ng pito. Diba? Para wala na. Ayan, tama na. Wala nang sinabi yung police, pinituhan na lang.
Actually, we will suggest that's a good way of doing their work, no? Para manita.
That's how they do it with lifeguards abroad. May pito lang. Hindi magsasalita yung lifeguard. Huli. Anyway, let's go for a quick break, Yusek Densing. And when we come back, I'd like to talk to you about yung vaccination card, COVID pass, etc. Kasi may mga namimeke na raw, but there are also complaints of people who want to travel and they discover yung kanilang vaccination has not been uploaded with DICT, etc. We'll go for a quick break here on Agenda. Hey, welcome back to the program Agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, and you are watching us via Cignal TV, channels 8 and 250. We're back. We're back with Undersecretary Epimaco Densing III. Yusek, pag-usapan naman natin itong vaccine cards o itong vaccination cards kasi medyo nagiging issue na between the the local government units, not the DILG, but the local government units, the DICT, and the public. Kasi sabi ang pinaka-common na nadinig ko, matagal daw mag-upload yung mga LGU. Ang sagot naman ng mga LGU, paano naman sir ang hina ng aming internet structure, infrastructure, plus hindi namin ma-upload lahat ng sabay-sabay. And then, pag tinignan mo naman yung DICT, ladies and gentlemen, we have been trying to get someone from the DICT to educate the public on the matter, pero talo pa nila yung mailap na manok na labuyo doon sa bundok ng Malarayat. Okay, so anyway, Yusek Densing, paano ba ito? Ano ba gagawin natin dito?
Well, una sa lahat, ikaklaro ko lang yung policy on the vaccine cards. No? The policy of Resolution 101, which is standard protocols for travel, is the LGUs have the option to require an RT-PCR test prior to travel or prior to entry in the local government unit. So some are doing that, some are not. No? That's number one. Number two, with the vaccination already at hand, as an option of an LGU, they may want to recognize the vaccination card as a replacement or as an option instead of that RT-PCR test prior to travel or prior to entry. And we leave it to the local government unit. Apparently, of course, because we have a vaccination card which is really easy to be faked or to be forged, we are not pushing it as a requirement in replacement of that RT-PCR test prior to travel or prior to entry in the LGU. So we leave it to the LGU kung gusto nilang, if they have ways of verifying the authenticity of the vaccination card. So that's the general rule. No? Second, so with that, ang pinupush na ngayon natin is maging active na yung DICT portal on generating what we call a vaccine certification. No? So the vaccine certification is to be generated through that DICT portal that has all the security features. Okay. Now let's look at the history Cito. No? Totoo naman sinabi ng DICT when the DICT vaccination information management system was already up. Ang naging problema talaga ng local government units is all those who were vaccinated or the vaccinees, the information were not uploaded right away. In fact, when we reached 9 million in vaccinations, only 600,000 of that information were uploaded in the DICT VIMS. But we partnered with the DICT, or DICT partnered with us so that we can make a strong push with the local government units. That's why as of last week, our data shows that out of 12 million vaccinated, close to 4 million have been uploaded, or the data have been uploaded to the DICT portal. The target is by August 9.
Yeah, because that would be the accurate data. Dahil hindi mo naman pwedeng sabing 12 million vaccinated because majority of that is only single dose. Only close, you're correct, only close to the 4 million or 3 million plus are fully vaccinated like yours truly and like you.
Yeah, whether first dose dito or second dose nandun sa VIMS.
Pero hindi rin accurate yun. Kasi kung first dose ka lang at hindi ka na bumalik, then nullified din yung vaccination mo.
Well, you cannot generate a vaccine certification or vaccine certificate. So kung naka first dose ka lang and you want to generate, walang mag-generate na vaccine certificate. Those who are fully vaccinated, no? Yun lang ang makakapag-generate ng vaccine certification for purposes of travel within the country or going out of the country. And hopefully, this will be recognized by the other countries.
Mabuti yan na natanong ko at nasagot mo, Yusek. No? So, ladies and gentlemen, even if your data is uploaded with the DICT, if you only had one shot and not the double dose, except for Johnson and Johnson, I think, kung hindi mo na complete and you are not fully vaccinated, your name will not be uploaded into the system as fully vaccinated. So,
Yes, correct.
magpabakuna po kayo. Okay, continue, Yusek.
Well, the target is by August 9, we should have reached between 90 to 95% of the names or the data of the vaccinees in the VICT portal, no, yung Vaccination Information Management System. So by August 9, it will be put to live, and those who have been fully vaccinated can now generate their security featured vaccine certification. And hopefully by August 9, some of the countries will also recognize this vaccine certification. So medyo na-delay lang because again, yung local government natin at the time did not assign any individual or a senior encoder whose job is simply to encode all the data of the vaccinee. So ngayon, fast track na tayo and hopefully we'll reach 50% uploading of this data by next week and 90% before the year ends and hopefully 95 to 100% by August 9. Tapos magiging real time na siya, Sito.
Okay.
Na-delay lang ng konti and pero just to share, no, if you compare our country together with the other countries in terms of generating a vaccine certification, we're actually ahead. Kasi yung ibang bansa hindi naman nagre-require, yung vaccine card okay na sa kanila, may security features na yun. Tayo kailangan natin considering that we have countrymen who are overseas Filipinos or returning overseas Filipinos at marami din tayong lumalabas. So tayo isa sa mga naunang mag-generate ng vaccine certification.
Okay, now how will what will we end up with as an end product? Kasi okay, na-upload na, online na with DICT. Ngayon, nag-request si Beltran, kailangan ko po ng vaccination certification. I go online. Will they send me a card with a security feature, laminated card? Is it all based on electronically generated QR system? And will this be accessible by international bodies? Kasi ang pinaka nakakatakot dito, sir, kung ikukuha mo online tapos ipiprint ko rin, di wala rin. Ganun lang din ang mangyari unless it is fully electronic, fully digital, or they send me a real plastic laminated security card.
I think you can print it yourself. No? It's digital. A QR code will be generated. So it's either you print it, meron kang hard copy, or you can just put it in your cell phone. And again, there's already an ongoing negotiation with the, I think, International Airlines Transport Association. So that IATA, if you show your QR code in your cell phone or print it out, they will recognize it and accept you as a passenger in their airline. Ganun na rin pagdating mo sa ibang bansa. So ganun ka-simple.
Okay, malaking bagay po. Importanteng balita yan. That's important info from you, Yusek Densing. When, how, etc. are we doing this deal with IATA? Because IATA is the lead body for international travel, and they're the ones who are trying to make international travel easy for everyone. But their primary requirement is that there must be an established, verifiable national agency that can respond to any inquiry they make regarding vaccination of a particular passenger.
Correct. That's why we found out when the BITCT was negotiating or dealing with IATA, it was then that they found out that we were one of the first countries now applying for them to have our vaccine certification accredited with them or recognized by them. And hopefully other countries will follow. This is something we anticipated ahead because we know that a lot of Filipinos, we have overseas Filipinos who are traveling abroad or to a destination country, and we have to make sure that they will be convenienced in their travel going to the other countries. So nauna po tayo. Hopefully by August 9, just wait for at least less than a month, no? Fully operational siya, and all Filipinos would like to travel or at least just to have a document that says they are fully vaccinated, they can already access the portal and print a QR code for them.
Okay, so hindi na natin po problemahan yung peke-peke na yan
Yeah,
kasi
correct.
wala nang plastic, bawal ang peke, puro tayo digital. Thank you very much, Undersecretary Densing.
Thank you very much, Cito, and pleasure this morning.
Okay, as always, that's Undersecretary Epimaco Densing of the DILG. At maganda po yung mga shinare ni Yusek Densing, kasi walang hulihan. Bawal ang hulihan. Sana puro pito na lang at hindi yung pitong bastos ng mga manyakis. Pito ng pulis na pag nagkaroon ng violation, parang lifeguard sa swimming pool sa Tate. Okay? Yon, pituhan ka na lang, or even in Bondi Beach in Australia, you go beyond the limit. Okay, so walang mura. Kasi may mga pulis po na nakikita na sa video, mumurahin pa yung nahuli. So, para hindi ka nagmumura, busalan mo yung bibig mo ng pito. Okay, huwag nyo lang gagayahin yung mga buweset na mga security guard sa mga hotel na pito ng pito, nakakairita. Anyway, let's go to our next topic. And our next topic has to do with what we quoted from the Bible, na not all things may be permissible, but not all things are beneficial. Even if it's legal, it is not necessarily moral. Let's talk to a regular and parang halos legal consultant na namin to. Mabuti na lang hindi sumisingil at napaka-generous sa information. We have with us, I only discover now, he's also an election lawyer, aside from the fact that he's Dean of the Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Maynila College of Law, Attorney George Garcia. Attorney Dean Garcia, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Sir Cito, at good morning sa lahat ng mga nanonood sa atin.
Okay, marami ng kuro-kuro at batikos tungkol dito sa mga suggestion and advice and parinig ni President Rodrigo Duterte na sounds like a good idea for me to run as Vice President when I am no longer President. Now, I believe it was... his name slips my mind, but he is part of the Constitutional Convention or rewrite of the Constitution in 87 ba yun, who said that the spirit of the Constitution is against re-election of the President to another office or to the same office. Sinaloko ng magaling naming EP si Christian Monsod. Sabi ni Attorney Christian Monsod, nung ginawa namin yan, ang saloobin ng binuo naming konstitusyon ay hindi dapat tatakbo for re-election ang Pangulo. What's your input or insight? Kasi ikaw, tabla ka, neutral ka. Please give us your academic and legal view on this.
Sir Cito, setting aside legal and political consideration, political and ethical consideration, stick tayo sa legal para naman po hindi nalilito yung mga kababayan natin. Ang provision po na pinag-uusapan dito ng saligang batas ay yung Article 7, Section 4 ng Constitution. Na nakalagay po doon, the President is not eligible for any re-election. Any re-election. So ang magiging katanungan, kapag ba sinabi mong any re-election, ang tanong, does it refer to the incumbent President? O pwedeng former President pero hindi pwedeng tumakbo sa kahit na anong o sa posisyon ng presidency. Yung pangalawa naman na question, nakalagay any re-election, does it refer only, Sir Cito, to the office of the President, or can he or she run to any other position or not run to any other position other than the presidency? Medyo magkakaiba po yung bagay na yon.
Yes.
Alam mo, Sir Cito, I would like to answer with a sounding yes, he can run. Okay? He can run, and I will justify that. Maaari ko po hindi mag-agree, but that is really the intent of the framers of the Constitution, with all due respect. Ito pong provision ng Article 7, Section 4 ay na-encounter ko when I defended former President Joseph Estrada when he tried to run again in 2010. I was the one who defended, I'm the lawyer of President Estrada.
Okay, sorry, I didn't know that.
Yes. There was an issue at that time whether he can run again or not. Because remember, there was an issue whether he was removed or he resigned from the presidency after more than 2 years. So the issue was at that time, pwede pa siyang makatakbo nakalagay the president is not eligible for any re-election. Nanalo po kami sa COMELEC, nanalo kami sa division and bank ng COMELEC, nakarating po kami Supreme Court. I was asking the Honorable Supreme Court to decide the case on the merits. Kaya lang po, nagkaroon na lang ng election, naging moot and academic ang issue, the Supreme Court just dismissed the case for being moot and academic. Hindi po niya na-resolve. And when I was researching on the provision of Section 4, Sir Cito, maliwanag po kasi ang debate ng Constitutional Commission at that time na sinasabi nila that the prohibition applies only to the same position. And the prohibition applies to the same position. It would appear that the president being referred to is the incumbent president. So ibig sabihin po pala, ako Sir Cito, nung hindi ko pa nababasa yung debate ng Constitutional Commission at that time, I was really of the belief na kapag naging presidente ka, hindi ka pwedeng tumakbo whether in the next succeeding election or tumakbo sa kahit na anong posisyon, kahit barangay chairman. Kasi yun nga yung purpose. Ang purpose nga ng Section 4 ay para to prevent the abuse of authority, the use of resources of the president. Isipin mo naman kung ang presidente ng Pilipinas incumbent ay tatakbo chairman, barangay chairman doon sa kanilang barangay. Ano naman ang laban ng kahit na sinong barangay chairman doon? Kaya lang, nung binasa ko na po yung debate, the intention really was only to prevent the incumbent or the president from running to the same position. Kaya nga po meron tayong nakatakbo na former president sa congresswoman, meron din tayong nakatakbo na former president as mayor. Di po ba? Although, aaminin ko, walang nag-question sa kanila, pero sa bandang huli, Sir Cito, regardless of my interpretation, regardless perhaps of the intent of the framers, tama rin naman po kayo, tama rin naman po ang publiko, the Supreme Court will decide later.
But Din, pasensya ka na. Siyempre, no match ako sa'yo. Din ka, attorney ka. Pumunta ka na sa... Ako, dito lang ako sa kusina. No? Pero from the little that I know, okay, first, the Supreme Court never made the decision.
Yes,
So,
sir.
you cannot say, or we cannot say, that there is jurisprudence on this matter. Kasi it
That's
has
right.
not been decided upon. Number two, Joseph Estrada at the time never could not be qualified as president because he was removed from office.
Yes,
He
sir.
was neither incumbent, neither did he complete his term, and he was technically removed from office. Kumbaga, parang sa kasal, tinanggal ka doon sa kasalan, so hindi ka kasal, 'di ba? The wedding was never consummated. So kumbaga, 'di ba? So ako ang feeling ko lang gano'n, parang kakaiba yung case ni ERAP with the case of Duterte, and I'm not going to take side. Like I said, I'm not a lawyer here, no? Pero parang dalawa, you're correct, yung no one challenged. And therefore, because no one challenged and because it was allowed, therefore, they could run for lower office. So parang on that technicality, you're correct. President Duterte may be allowed to run because ERAP was allowed to run for mayor, Arroyo was allowed to run for congresswoman. So why... Okay. Again, we're going to go back to the same open-ended questions. Two,
Yeah.
a president who never consummated the presidency and winners of lower positions but were never challenged. How do we settle this dilemma? I mean, kasi parang sabihin na natin, I'm sure mananalo si Duterte if he ran because he is the incumbent, because he is the dominant political party. Pero like in past politics, administration, just because you won doesn't mean you have the people. So madilintikan na naman yung bansa natin ito. And that's what worries me, a divided nation. How do we resolve this issue?
Yes, sir. Hopefully, sana ito po ay we do not want to preempt any future events or whatever. Pero sana po kung sakali mangyayari yan, sana magkaroon ng issue kaagad, ma-raise kaagad yung issue na yan, magkaroon ng kaso hanggang makarating sa Supreme Court. Sabi mo nga, Sir Cito, ito yung pagkakataon. Ako, yung talaga, siguro nga, baka nga na-predict naman natin kahit paano, nasabi ko, sana i-resolve ng Supreme Court itong issue, i-interpret nila yung Section 4 kasi in the future, mangyayari ito. And ito na nga, mukhang mangyayari ito sa darating na halalan. Sana, before the election of May of 2022, sana ma-resolve ito kasi mahirap naman yung hanging yung issue pagkatapos we will be electing or not electing somebody based on that issue. Hopefully the Supreme Court will decide on that. Kaya lang po, talagang at this point po, the Supreme Court may have a different interpretation. We do not want to preempt the Honorable Supreme Court. At this point, yung reading po ng Constitutional Convention, yung minutes ng Constitutional Convention, talaga po ang interpretation, ang sinasabi nila during their interpellation, question and answer, sinasabi only for the position of the President. Para sa akin po, kung pagbabasihan natin yung aming laging pinapanindigan ng mga abogado sa statutory construction o sa pag-interpret ng batas, you have to go into the intent of the framers, of the one who made this provision, then the intent was really not to allow the President to run to the same position only. Okay. Kaya lang, pagdating sa Supreme Court, the Supreme Court kasi is the final arbiter of what is the intent of the people or the framers, so baka naman magkaiba sila ng interpretation. Sabi nga natin, Sir Cito, it may be what is legal, but in the final analysis, what is legal may not necessarily be moral or ethical.
Okay, now, maraming pumapasok na tanong dito kasi eto, sinasabi, the Vice President is first successor to President. Does that have any possible impact? Kasi ang issue yata dito, but I think it has nothing to do with the legal question eh. Kasi ang ginagawang issue ng marami, pag pinayagan nating Vice President at nag-resign o namatay yung Presidente, si Duterte na naman ang Presidente. It could be a very grim outcome, but you know, before that, no, ang tanong ko lang kasi spirit of the law yung sinabi ni Christian Lungsod, and then of course there are many luminaries, experts on law and religion, etc., who have commented in other issues, no, where when things are vague, kasi si Sal Panelo sinabi niya what the law does not declare, it allows.
It allows.
Parang, ewan ko, tama ba yun? Hindi ba reverse yun? Unless the law says it, it's not. Kasi kanya-kanya interpretation eh. Ikaw din of law ka, so pakiclarify mo nga yung point na yun. Is it what the law does not state, it allows, or what the law does not state, it does not allow? And number two, if you go to the history and intent, our constitutions go all the way back to the Constitution of America as a colony or you know, as a highly influenced by the US system, our courts, etc. Ang pagkakatanda ko, ganun din yung framers of the US Constitution na walang ganyan. Si George Washington nga hindi pumayag gawing hari siya eh. Sabi niya, hindi, we will have a democratic system so that there will be no abuse of authority or power. Sorry din, paki na lang. Para
Pero
ako congressman.
Yung unang sinabi nyo kanina na pinuhito ng ating Presidential Legal Counsel, meron po kasing prinsipyo sa batas sa Latin ex expressio unius, es inclusio alterius. What is deemed included is therefore not excluded. What is deemed excluded is therefore not included. So pag sinabi mo raw, parang wala naman nakalagay doon, therefore, pwede. Yun ang kanilang interpretation. Ako hindi ko titignan sa ganun kung ako mag-i-interpret. Ang unang titignan ko yung wordings mismo nung provision ng Constitution. Alam niyo po, ang nag-complicate dyan, Sir Cito, yung word na any re-election. Kaya lang, yung any kasi, pag tinugma mo dun sa re-election, parang hindi magkaano any, dapat to any election dapat yon or any election. Kasi ang any re-election, it refers to the same position. So parang hindi mo, kayo mas marunong kayo, na writer kayo, parang hindi yata magkatulad yung any, tapos re-election. Dapat doon any election para lang mag-refer to a different position other than the presidency.
Yeah, but you're going on the Constitution itself. In terms of law, the principles of law, As far as law is concerned, what is included is therefore, ano ka mo, nalito na ako eh.
What is deemed excluded is therefore not included, and what is deemed included is therefore excluded.
Oh, yung hindi kasali, puwera.
Mhm.
Yun lang yun, di ba? Ganun yun sa
Tama
Tagalog.
po. Tama
Kung
po.
hindi kasali sa usapan, puwera ka, puwera ka, dun ka, tsupe. Ganun ang labanan. So,
Tama.
yung pinagtutulakan ng mga ibang tao na hindi, kasi hindi sinabi, pwede, mali yun. As far as law is concerned.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Now, I go, break po muna tayo. Inaawat ako ng aking EP. Nanggigigil daw ako. So, we'll go for a quick break din, and then when we come back, we will let you explain naman yung sinasabi mo, yung minutes of the discussion regarding whether it's excluded or included. We'll be back with Dean George Garcia here on Agenda. Okay, welcome back to the program Agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, and with us is Attorney and Dean of the Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Maynila College of Law, George Garcia. So, Attorney Dean, sinabi mo yung hindi kasali, puwera. That's as far as the law is concerned. Now, go to your position regarding this re-election to a lower position.
Yes, sir. Ako nga po, pag pinag-aralan niyo po kasi yung Section 4, it is my consistent view before I read that the minutes of the debates of the Constitutional Commission, that the real purpose was really to prevent perpetuation sa power. Yun nga po yung purpose because of our previous experience during the administration prior to the enactment of the Constitution. Talagang yun po. Pag pinag-aralan nyo, magmula kay Commissioner Maambong at that time to the debates, so interpellation nila ni Commissioner Davide, then Commissioner and then later on Chief Justice Davide, talagang ganun po yung kanilang purpose. Kaya lang nung nagtanong na, ano ba yung posisyon na pinoprohibit natin dito? Ang naging sagot po kasi to the same to the position of the presidency. So hindi po kasama yung any other position. Sa aking palagay, yung naging sagot po kasi yun will defeat the very intent. Supposedly, tama po yung pinopoint, the spirit of that section which was really to prevent somebody from perpetuating himself to office. Isipin nyo nga po, kung ako yung presidente, tatakbo pala akong mayor, lahat ng mga hindi pa sementadong parte ng isang kalsada ng bayan pasesemento ko hanggang sa mismo mga bakuran niyo, pasesemento ko, sure na panalo ako because I'm the president. Therefore, nagamit ko po yung position ko. So, para sa akin po, yun dapat talaga ang intent and spirit of the Constitution. Kaya lang, yun nga po, the Supreme Court kasi will be limited.
But wait a minute, Dean. What?
Opo.
Ayoko pong gamitin to pero I have to quote it. People have defined or have called this attempt of a president running for vice president suspected as a backdoor strategy to regain power directly or indirectly or control of government for another 6 years as a bare-faced lie. Lantarang panlilinlang, lantarang kasinungalingan na lumalabag sa konstitusyon. Now, what are we supposed to do with that? Kung obvious na, tumatakbo yan para maging presidente o para makontrol ulit ang Pilipinas. And hindi naman dininay ni presidente yan. Sinabi naman niya, marami pa akong hindi natapos na gusto kong magawa. What do you do with that? That is essentially Oo.
as a practitioner of election for the last more than 20 years, ano po, immediately, kung mangyayari man magpa-file ng candidacy, immediately anybody, a registered voter, can file a petition to cancel or deny due course the candidacy of a president who is running for vice president, on the argument that the word or the interpretation should be prohibited siya from any other position. Tama naman po kayo, Sir Cito. Katulad din po na na-point out ko, walang jurisprudence. So ito yung pagkakataon natin, i-point out natin, sa COMELEC po muna kasi ang case na yan hanggang sa makarating sa Supreme Court. I will agree. Magkakaroon tayo ngayon ng feeling na naman, hindi kasi legal, attorney,
Hindi.
or nagiging political ang issue Alam nyo naman, magmula pagka mag-decision. But, ako naniniwala ako, in the final analysis, the Supreme Court, because of its wisdom, will decide the case, and hopefully it will decide the case before the election para the people will be guided.
Yeah, if someone goes to the Supreme Court and files an appeal for clarificatory something ba yun? Ang tawag mo dun?
Actually po nung panahon po ni President Estrada, gusto sana namin mag-file yung parang, tama nyo nga, clarificatory something. Kaya lang pumawal po kasi yung kapag walang actual controversy. So ibig sabihin,
ngayon, pwede ka ba? Sorry, attorney, medyo nanggigigil ako kanya hindi pumayag si Lord maging abogado ako Okay, hindi, pero ngayon, you were the lawyer for Estrada. The Supreme Court decided it's moot and academic. Okay? Pero there is a situation that requires a judgment on this question. Pwede ka bang mag-file ng motion for reconsideration o tapos na talaga, wala na yan, kailangan panibago na naman kasi mag-aaway-aaway na naman ng mga Pilipino whether you are Duterte or anti or whatever, and it is simply because the law was not clear enough.
Meron pong isang paraan, merong isang remedyo na pwede ka maghingi ng para bang andating advisory opinion sa Supreme Court. Kaya lang po, ako malamang-lamang po, Sir Cito, because of the extraordinariness of the situation. It's a case of national importance. Palagi ko po, the Supreme Court will refuse to issue parang the advisory opinion. The Supreme Court will wait for the proper case to be filed, and that will be after the filing of the candidacy pa. Sa experience ko naman po, kapag ganito, katulad ng kay Grace po, I was also the lawyer of Senator Grace po, the case was decided by the Supreme Court prior to the election. Although she lost the election, but it was decided prior to the election. I'm hoping that in this case, the Supreme Court will decide naman prior to the election. Kaya lang, ito naman din ay warning din sa mga mamamayan. Yun po yung pino-point out note. Ako, clear na clear yung sinasabi nyo, Sir Cito. Na sa bandang huli, ang tao naman kasi ang magdidesisyon talaga. Sabi mo nga, the people may be fooled. The people may be misled. But I can honestly believe that at this point, our Supreme Court will decide the case immediately before the election so that the people will be guided. Hindi po tayo malilito. Magagayad po tayo. Ngayon, ang magiging problema na lang, Sir Cito, later pa, may isa pang problema. Nanalo. Paano ngayon kung nag-resign yung presidente, doon siya muli ang presidente? Tanong, is that legal, valid, or is that should be allowed? Isang ibang issue na naman po yun. So, sa akin pong palagay, Sir Cito, tamang pag-usapan sa kasalukuyan, tamang ma-raise na kaagad yung issue, at sana po, hindi naman din ito against sa ating nakaupong Pangulo, at I think i-welcome niya yan as a lawyer, sana po, ma-raise na kaagad yung issue na yan immediately after the filing of the candidacy so that everything will be done by January or February before the election of May.
Okay, ako po ay nangangamba din, Garcia, kasi alam mo, may posibilidad and kasi iba-iba yung mga pangalan no lumilitaw, ano? And pinag-aralan ko yung mga pangalan, isa doon, medyo may suspecha ako, may cancer. Pagkatapos yung isa doon, ang alam ko, si Presidente mismo, sinabi naman niya na may kung ano ngayon, Barrett's disease ba yun, etc. Sabi ko, I think it is about time all of us woke up to one reality. That if we don't play our cards right, sabagay, hindi po ito sugal, ano? Pero kung hindi tayo pumili ng maayos at kumilos ng maayos, whether you are a candidate or not, we could find ourselves in an even bigger constitutional crisis. And the last thing we want is to lose the president, lose the vice president, and like in Thailand, like in Burma, like everywhere else, puro naka-uniforme na, hindi retired ang nakaupo dahil yung mga civilian leaders ay pare-parehong nagsarili. Okay. Thank you, Attorney Garcia. Maraming salamat sa paglilinaw mo. Please lang, kung pwedeng nga lang akong pumunta sa Supreme Court, ikaw ang abogado, talagang kakatukin ko na sila at magmamakahon, save the country from disaster. Thank you, Attorney.
Thank you very much, Sir Cito. Thank you very much po.
Okay, and we look forward to interviewing Dean George Garcia again. We've run out of time. That's today's agenda for you. And I repeat what I said. Please pray for the nation, because while many people think this is just a legal debate, no, there are serious repercussions. We need to save the nation. God bless all of you.